So I'm the new guy on the block, and I'll just kind of go with what I saw last year. I think y'all initiated, and then I jumped in, so.
And I sent that to you, I don't know if I sent you that or not.
No, you didn't.
Okay. That's just what, that's the same thing they're looking at.
I remember that we upgraded computers or laptops or something for him, or did
We
we? Or-
did a number of computers, I don't know, did we do any laptops?
We did, and I can't remember if it was one, it was two laptops.
I think we've got, one more.
We've got, well, we had one more desktop, but there's some legislative changes that are coming about, so I'm probably gonna have to add two. We're good on laptops and the monitors, copier, scanner, all the stuff we've got set up for iScan. We've just about, to put it in layman's terms, we've just about got the technology upgrades we need. We're real close. And I know that we, Judge Chastain and I had discussed, and he discussed, we did not discuss with you with the WebEx, with the COVID federal money for that setup, but I know that's separate from the budget.
Actually, that's, you talking about for courtroom duty? That's already signed and they should be working.
That will be a huge necessity.
That was already funded from the CARES money.
Well, we back there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great asset to have. We've been kind of patching things together to make that work. And for example, tomorrow I have bond revocation hearings, and I have to work around Superior Court and use there. So it's a good thing to have.
Well, I sent Scott the authorization to go ahead, for him to give to them to go ahead and do the work. So hopefully it'll be before long.
That will help us tremendously. And virtual hearings appears to be the way of the future, especially with COVID. Personal opinion, I don't think COVID will ever go away. I think this will be a continuous battle. And for us to meet the needs of the public, virtual hearings is about the only way to do that in some aspects. So.
I have no experience with virtual hearings, but I gotta tell you, I'm starting to like the Zoom meetings rather than having to drive somewhere.
The virtual hearings it's a good way to handle situations where we have plaintiffs or defendants that doesn't live here. We have that, believe it or not, quite often in civil suits, and it allows for them not to have to travel, great distances. The other plus is not being exposed to COVID anywhere that is possible. And on the criminal side of it, working with the individuals with the sheriff's office and detainees, it's a safety issue. So they don't have to bring them out of that safer environment in jail to bring them to the courthouse. We can do it virtual. So there's a whole lot of pluses to it.
What would the contract services consist of?
Are you talking about what I've got here in the
The
budget?
8,500 for contract services versus 3,500?
What we're looking at, okay, we'll start with that one. What we're looking at there is, with the increases we've already done, the copier and the scanner, that monthly cost. iScan, which is an e-filing system that we've implemented, it covers that monthly cost. And what I wanted to add was online search warrants. We are, in this circuit, the only county that doesn't have that.
And that would cover it?
That would cover it. And the purpose for the online search warrants, there's many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is the old way of doing it, they have to would meet with the judge personally, and 9 times out of 10 they were coming to a judge's house. That takes a lot of time, and again, with COVID, you're bringing people to your house. The safety issue for law enforcement if, for example, they're watching a residence or house and they're in need of looking at a search warrant to be executed, they can simply log on a laptop, and we can handle that within 15 to 20 minutes, whether it's granted or whether it's denied. And the safety issue is law enforcement being present on property waiting for that. Sometimes the search warrants can be very dangerous, so the faster that it's either granted or denied, the safer it is for our law enforcement.
That's actually the only question I have.
Yeah, I had that question. That's the only thing I have.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I guess probably the best thing for me is I'll start at the top and kind of work my way down.
Have you ever heard the thing about don't be that guy that can't take yes for an answer?
Do what now, sorry?
In other words,
He hasn't presented.
you're good.
Oh,
You don't have to go into details, they're good.
Unless you want
We're
to share,
Okay.
unless you want to share something in particular.
Something specific, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, it's a bigger issue, and I would like for you guys to be informed.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And what I'm looking at, we have 2 part-time judges. We are, again, the only county in the circuit that is set up that way. That's because that's the way it has been in the past. One of the increases that we looked at in salaries, what I want to do is Judge Kincaid will be retiring. He stayed 1 year as part-time. He will be retiring at the end of the year.
Officially.
Officially.
For real.
For real. And I have another part-time judge, and he knew that it was a short-term kind of stay here, and that's why he agreed to kind of help me. Because my long-term goal was what I wanted to do was do away with those part-time positions and add a full-time clerk. That clerk would be a full-time clerk, part-time judge, and by law, and talking about the extra computer, back in 2015, legislation was passed that magistrate judges or magistrate courts will start having to make GCIC, Georgia Crime Information Computer, entries for bond conditions, mostly geared toward victims of family violence. But any bond conditions, any and all bond conditions, pre-trial will have to be entered. Well, with that comes an extra workload. And with that we will have to have a separate computer for that because of safety and integrity with the GCIC system. So that extra help to help with clerical needs when we're overloaded. That person will also be making GCIC entries, and will have the training to be a GCIC, what we refer to as a TAC, that they are certified. And that one person is the only person that can have access to that. And those entries by law are required within 24 hours. The purpose of that, so that information is put through the system throughout the state, so law enforcement has access to that. The way it's been in the past is law enforcement, the only access they have is locally. So if an individual's on bond conditions here and they go from from North Georgia to South Georgia, and they are around someone they've had orders to have no contact with, that agency has no way to know if those orders existed or if they're in violation of it. So this solves that problem. But on our end, it creates more workload. Well, the other issue is when you have part-time judges, you get part-time help. I want somebody who's professional, will take the time to be vested in the office and make the efforts to make good decisions and get the training that's available to a full-time position. So I don't know if y'all football fans. Back in the day.
Not the NFL.
Back in the day, I was a Steelers fan, and then this one particular player, and he played everywhere. So his nickname was Slash. So in a nutshell, this position is a slash position. That person will help me with call. They'll help me with hearings when we're overloaded. They'll help the clerks, and will be well versed in every operation of what we do, and give the county professional help instead of we're kind of getting by with part-time help. So that little bit of increase there is for that purpose and to help us comply with that law with GCS.
So the things that you just described are coming in this figure?
Yes. With absorbing those part-time positions and a little bit of an increase, I can make that work.
So instead of the part-time, you have a full-time.
One full-time position, and that person on the judge's responsibilities, that person and I will rotate calls. That's another responsibility that they have. And what I want to look to down the future is training for, and that'll come probably toward the end of the year, for grants. And if we can get into grant writing and the training in that, that takes some of the load of the burden off the taxpayer in Gilmer County. If we look at federal and state grant money. So that's another project that this person will free up that we can make work.
Very good. Very good. Relatively painless, really.
Relatively painless, yes, sir.
Are you feeling good and fitting in, getting,
Oh, yeah,
digging in?
love the job. Judge Kincaid, staying and helping with this mentoring process, which is required by law. He's not only done that for me, but this other part-time judge, and learning the administrative part of the job. You know, every job has its administrative bridges that you have to cross. And with that, we've adjusted with the technology, and that you guys have helped us. We need it badly. And we are within, we're very close to being competitive with our fellow magistrate judges or magistrate courts in Pickens and Fannin County.
Judge Kincaid was not a big fan of technology.
Now I'm trying to figure that out. We went from doing a lot of handwritten forms to online forms to e-filing. We're reducing that storage area for paperwork that's no longer needed that can be e-filed. And it also helps protect us to a degree from lawsuits. You know, technology is a difficult thing and it changes rapidly. And I get set in my ways too. But without that, and if you don't bridge that gap quickly before long, it's so far apart, you can't ever make that connection. And we were kind of at that point. But we are almost to the point that we're competitive, or comparable, I guess is probably a better word to say, in the judicial system with Fannin and Pickens County.
These couple of extra desktops should put you there.
That will get us there, and then with the y'all may have read that, I don't remember, it's been a while back. We had some legislation that we worked on to have passed that we can add on a fee for civil filings, and that fee is strictly for technology. So it goes to a separate account, and within 5 years with that fee, we should be able to replace, if not all, very close to what you guys have put in office. So that takes that burden, the majority of that burden off the taxpayers in Gilmer County, because believe it or not, the majority of people that file civilly are not from Gilmer County. I would say 75 to 80%. You're looking at credit card companies, corporations, real estate companies, those kind of things. You'll have some civil filings that, of course, are from here, but believe it or not, a bigger part of them is not. So my thoughts of that was, why not put more of that burden on the people who get the majority of the use out of that office than the burden on the general public here in Gilmer County who probably never even come by the magistrate's office. So with that, in 5 years, we should be able to replace all that without taxing or burdening or begging you guys for money for that. It should cover, I'm hoping, all of it, depending on inflation, prices of technology.
That will be really good. Although hopefully we've been responsive to what you need.
Oh,
That would be,
it would free you guys up. And there's a what is it, sunset or sunrise, I can't remember, a clause in that in 10 years, the law, if no longer needed, would dissipate. It has to be revisited. And of course, if we still need it, I'm sure we wouldn't have any problems having it passed to push it on for another 10. And that would help you guys in your job. And of course, we don't want to burden the taxpayer any more than we have to. And that's been the difficult thing coming in this position. There's been so much is needed. And technology is a very part of it. Technology is expensive. But it's really the only way to function. And we were behind bad. But we're in good shape now.
Awesome, awesome, that's great.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.